I wrote about the civilians coming to the war. It's actually a very important chapter with the senators and the congressmen coming to the war, because they're the ones that vote for war, and then they're the ones that I think in Washington are trying to manage the strategic effort as well as what the American people are supporting. To the question of what we could have done, I believed we needed a buffer in Western Iraq. I was talking with Ambassador Ford about anchors west and anchors north. I wrote a dissent cable based on some of the other things, and I think I was right in some ways and very wrong in other ways. But I always believed that the Sunnis were going to gravitate toward their worst instincts if they didn't see a future in their own country. That said, I used to spend every day of the week almost in downtown Fallujah telling Sunnis and Fallujans, you're not going to be in power again. So you can ship car bombs into Baghdad all you want, but your government does have legitimate issues about the instability that the West brings to the capital. So what's going on today? Baghdad has redirected forces to Fallujah, to the west, because of the tremendous bloodshed that was going on in Iraq. I tell people also very openly, and I did it then, that every year in Fallujah I understood 1% truly of what was going on. So the dynamic shifted, I think, from less what the Americans could do to what was unfolding between Shia power brokers in Iran and what was happening on our border out west, where you were as well, I know, with the Syrian dynamic and the Saudi dynamic. It became a very regional issue here. And so our ability as Americans to shape the future was going down and down and down and down. And we hate to admit that because we're the Americans. There's never a solution that we can't figure out. And I know I love our Marine Corps, but there's no mission the Marine Corps can't accomplish. So if you put too many troops on the ground, which if you want to talk about going forward, it may become a quicksand environment again. So the Iraqi dynamic, I think, started to trump whatever role the Americans could actually have. If we had kept troops, I think, in Iraq, and I understand why the administration had a hard time doing that, because of the dynamic with the Shia-dominated government, you probably could argue that we wouldn't have as much of a problem in Western Iraq for sure that we have now. But there would have been a host of other problems, because the real winner of the Iraq War, it's a cliche, but it's true, is Iran. The fewer Americans getting their legs blown off, horrific damage, and General Nicholson and I spent so much time at Bastion Hospital, which I write about. We understood better than anyone the cost of these wars. So we did not want, and he did not want, Marines to go off into some expedition. I fault a government that says we're going to send in 33,000 more troops, go work it, generals. And that's, I think, an important point that maybe we'll get to, is that I always felt like we had stronger military leadership than we had civilian leadership. And generals want strong civilian leadership. I mean, all good generals want a good political game plan. It's not their job to figure out the politics of a country.